What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for a video that should probably irritate some people because, to be honest with you, when I first saw these comments, I was a little bit taken back. So, Moonlight Swami, we all know, had a franchise channel, one of the more successful franchise channels on YouTube, as a matter of fact, but then went, I believe 2 years ago now, to work at EA in hopes that he could, I guess, take some of what he knew or learned or knowledge from his channel and his desire to have a better franchise experience and put it in the game. I think we all know that really hasn't happened, unfortunately, because we want a better franchise experience, but even based on the movements this year, you haven't seen with Fixed Madden franchise any real commitment or change. So he has begun to upload back to YouTube and put together these franchise episodes, and people have begun to start watching them again. And it's interesting that Metro Johnny, who's one of my viewers, went into his channel and said, how are you playing this without it crashing? I'd like to know. Now, it's one thing as a creator if we say, hey, I've never had an issue. I don't know what you're talking about. This doesn't impact me. Maybe can you show it to me like I like to say to someone? Instead, he says, I have no idea. I haven't had a single crash. To which Johnny responds, so you really have no idea what I'm talking about. Your game, your franchise has never crashed. This is one of the most prevalent issues in the community right now. And it's more than just the fact that you've got an EA employee coming out and saying, well, I know it happens to other people, but it's not happening to me. I think when you become an employee of a company, which I'm constantly accused of being an employee for other companies like Access or Maximum Football, the reality is you lose the ability to say to someone, well, it doesn't happen to me. I haven't experienced it. Then listen, you need to play the game until you experience it and then start to work on a fix for it. I'm not saying that he can't not enjoy the game while it's being worked on, but at the same time recognize what's happening here is you've got somebody that's making content with a game for a company that he works for that has customers that are experiencing that exact game mode not playable, and he's responding, well, it's never happened to me. To me, this is a big part of the reason that we get into these issues with EA where their game just never seems to function properly. And don't get me wrong, I firmly believe and understand there is going to be times where a game kind of goes out into the world and things happen that they'll never be able to replicate. There's 1 in a million plays. There's 1 in 5 million plays, right? And those have their own place in terms of talking about them. The commonplace of a glitch actually factors into how much it needs to be approached. But to sit here and say, I've never experienced these crashes, then how much are you playing the game? Because from what I've seen, maybe 40% of the people that play franchise mode are experiencing them. And that's what needs to be talked about. That's what needs to be shown. It's great that he's making content. It's great that people are watching it. It's great that people want to become involved again with franchise series. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the franchise creators I know have given up with creating with this game simply because they've exhausted their creativity as they deal with the same exact game from year to year to year. That's why I kind of pride myself with Madden on not being a franchise creator, because I know it's the same product every single year. It's going to be hard for me to make that into something worth watching. I have all the respect in the world for those people that can literally take the same exact game, carbon copy of each year, and making it into something new and refreshing it into something worth watching, entertaining. That takes something I don't have. But at the same time, I think every person in this community is willing to sit down and say, hey, there's some real things that have to be addressed in this game so we all can enjoy it. And when you have developers that come out and say, even not to just developers, other creators that say, hey, I've never experienced a problem in the game, then you need to seek out that problem. You need to seek others that have that problem. And you need to try to put yourself not only in their position because they can't enjoy a game you either work for or a game that you actually enjoy playing. You need to sit and rationalize, how can I see this so that I can fix it? What can I do? What can I ask? A lot of times with developers, they say to us, make sure when you're sending us an issue, you record it or you tell us what got you there. Because for so many of them, they want to be able to repeat it, to fix it, To fix the issue, they have to repeat the issue. That's just part of programming that's not exclusive to EA. Can you replicate it? Just about any time you beta test a game and you go forward with issues, one of the first things they're going to tell you is, can you replicate it? Because if you can replicate it, I can reverse it and I can try to fix it. There's a big difference between can you replicate it and just denouncing it. And I think here is one of those times where we cross the line of just denouncing it. And I hate to say it, but it piles on to everything else we've heard from EA developers this year. It seems like as a whole community, they have to struggle with this identity. And I actually will reference to Good Morning Madden, which I actually think would be, if the game was in a good state, Good Morning Madden would be a beautiful thing, right? To have every morning a show dedicated to what they're doing with the game, promoting the game, and then leading into, it's never going to be me. I think we all understand that. But leading into community members that are going to stream and enjoy the game for the duration of the day, even if it's only a handful of hours. That is a beautiful concept. The problem is, if you watch these episodes now, what has happened is, Kralo comes out, and he almost has to just apologize to the community. He has to go over what's going to be fixed. He looks and sounds like he does not enjoy what he's doing at all. Then they have to incentivize these Twitch streams. They basically have to put drops for Madden Ultimate Team in these streams to get people to watch them. Because it is literally watching the same people play the same game over, over, and over, and over. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's all your channel is, but guess what? I actually use different content. I actually use different clips. I use community clips. I'm not literally playing the same exact game over and over and over again, and then just getting on the microphone, screaming my head off while I open packs and pretend that something different is happening. Dude, you're still opening packs that have no value. No matter how many times you act like a Muppet on your webcam, screaming your head off because you got a card that's over 85. It doesn't change the fact that that's no different than the card that was above 85 last week that you screamed your head off of. I can't watch that. That is so far beyond where I am with this game. I would love to be able to sit there and watch a video like that, or to see someone's excitement and share that moment, but I can't. And I can't do that because the game is so broken. And instead, my interactions with developers are them here telling you, hey, I've never had it happen to me. Or Clint, hey, try again. John Madden loves this game. That's where the divide in the community has gotten so strong. And I think this year, more than any other year, we've seen that divide really get pushed. Because it's not that people want to hate on Madden. It's not that Johnny wants to hate on Madden. We actually want to have a better game. We want to have an enjoyable experience. And it seems like every time we turn on the game, we're reminded, hey, there's something preventing me from enjoying this. And then when you back that up with not only someone just diminishing it, like someone saying, oh, well, that's not a big deal, you can work around that, because that's usually the first thing that someone will say when it comes to Madden. They'll say, oh, well, if you don't like this, just do house rules, right? If you don't like to do this, my house rule is I never call the same play twice. My house rule is I never play on defense. My house rule is XYZ. All these workarounds to enjoy the game. Or we get to what Swami says, where it's just, oh, well, that's never happened to me. It literally is your job to care that it's happening to other people. And I don't expect him to always respond with the most EA-esque response, right? He's allowed to go be his own person. I am actually completely glad that he's able to have a channel, because a lot of people's channels would be really damaged by working with a gaming company, or, you know, people would see that as him trying to bring life back to a game mode that is really just on the doorstep of no one caring. Hopefully, his commitment to this franchise can be the shared commitment from EA to make this franchise better. But to be honest with you, like I said, everything that's going on right now in the community is dividing people. And the sad thing is, we all want to get to the same point. We all want a better game. It's just some people seem like they've had a mediocre game for so long. Like the game is so mediocre that they're just willing to look at any little nugget, any little sparkle of change, and latch onto it and say, yes, this is different. And if you don't see this is different, then that's your problem. because I know that it's different, and I'm going to be positive about it and hope that we keep changing. But the reality is, we wasted a whole game console generation. We're literally knocking on the doorstep of wasting a completely another gaming console generation. And for some of us, like myself, there's literally some fear in that. Like, this is literally wasted years of our lives. A whole console generation was wasted by Madden. Right? So if you're telling me that we're looking at the prospect of another console generation getting wasted, as a football gamer, you have no incentive to go out and buy another console. None. There's nothing that tells me right now, or you for that matter, months away from these consoles coming out, that they're going to completely rebuild this game and start over. It seems like they're going to take this broken shell of a football game and drag it kicking and screaming, full of microtransactions, right into the next generation of consoles. And the fact that people are just willing to accept and be okay with that, that's not me. That's probably not anyone that watches my channel. But the reality is that shouldn't be anyone in this community. They should sit back and want a better product and demand one from EA. Rinsing and repeating this game has gotten to the point where when they rinse it, the dirt's not coming off anymore. And every one of us sees it, no matter how much you repackage it. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking out. You know I will be back in the week with more commentary.